What is up, guys? I'm Hubsmash, and today I wanted to give you some Overwatch solo queue tips for competitive Season 2 in ranked mode. And I just want to start off by saying I'm a diamond player. My highest skill rating's just under 3,300, and I'm currently probably in the 3,150 to 3,200 area. So having said that, I have a pretty good understanding of the game from a competitive game mode perspective, but most of my time's been solo queue, and I've played with a few groups of friends and different things like that. I've done a fair amount of duo queue. But what follows are some tips and tricks that I found helpful to rise in rank, and hopefully you find some of these useful. Let's get into it. The first tip is practice makes perfect. I know you've heard this a lot before in life, but whether it's a mechanical thing you're trying to learn like aiming, game sense, or game flow, or even when/how to use specific hero abilities, a lot of this will come down to focused effort and practice. If you need to work on your aim, spend time in the training range, spend time to determine your optimal sensitivity and DPI, and put the time in. Just keep working. That's the important part. You ever play Reaper or Mei and you forget to use your shift ability to save your life? A Lucio that forgets his speed music? You need to play the heroes to the point where these things are second nature. In order to make the practice valuable, always analyze your play and make sure that you're honest with yourself about what mistakes you've made or what you could do to improve. A secondary benefit to doing all of this is that it distracts you from focusing on the mistakes that your teammates will inevitably make. Which brings me to my next point. Focus on your play. You're going to run into teammates that do weird stuff that you can't fathom in your mind. They're going to insta-lock attack Torb, and there's nothing you can do to change it. You have to realize that these people aren't something that you control, and what they do is not within the realm of your control. You can certainly make quick suggestions politely in an effort to influence them, but ultimately they're gonna do what they want to do, and there's not really much you can do about it. The hard thing is to not let this fact make you lose your focus. Be the voice of reason on your team. While the Torb pick might not be ideal, you can still win the game. No one's going to listen to you try to teach them anything lengthy because they haven't had enough time to build trust. To them, you're just another random person on the internet. And above all, don't let this stuff make you pissed off. You wouldn't get angry that it's raining outside, right? You have no control over the weather, so of course you're not going to get mad. Solo queue is much like the weather in a tropical area. It can be absolutely great, but it can be a nightmare. Your job is to learn to deal with the nightmares and don't let them bring you down. This is another aspect of the game that will cause you to lose focus. So to clarify this last one, telling a McCree that it might be better to go Reaper is fine and dandy. If they ignore you, don't switch, etc., just think to yourself, what can I do to either reduce the need for a Reaper, or should I simply play Reaper myself? Getting upset that this guy isn't doing what you want him to do will only serve to cause you to lose focus, and it won't benefit anybody. Tip number 3, have a hero that you can play for every role. So one of the reasons people stick to a specific character is because they aren't capable in other roles or on other characters. So do your best not to be that person. Quick play is the best place to practice a new hero, but it's difficult because the no hero limit causes issues and can make for extremely one-sided and unstructured games. Once you get the handle of the mechanics of the hero in quick play, it's time to move into competitive. Remember, competitive's a journey. You're going to rise and fall during your time playing in competitive, and spending some time to learn a new hero in a competitive environment is required. It's very hard to practice these heroes in a competitive way unless you're in the competitive mode already. On top of this, try to pick heroes in each role. So I consider offense/defense to be mostly just damage-oriented role, and I try to pick 2 from the damage category, so from the offense and defense characters combined. So for example, my personal hero pool is fairly wide because it needs to be for a solo queue player who wants to play what the team needs. That's called a flex role, and flex roles are arguably the hardest to fill because you're stretching your time and practice across multiple heroes instead of just a few. So for me, I kind of focus on McCree, Reaper, Tracer, and Mei on the damage side, and then on tank, I tend to go for Zarya or Roadhog, though I'm trying to put effort into being a better Reinhardt and Winston. On support, I prefer Zenyatta and Ana, as I find their playstyles to be more conducive to kind of what I like to do, which is damage and utility while also healing. But if the team needs it, I'll play a Mercy and a Lucio. So I play pretty much every hero, honestly, pretty much every hero. I don't stick to these in any way. These are the ones that I kind of prefer to play. I still pick the other heroes. But for our purposes here, when you're starting out and you want to focus on climbing, limiting your hero pool is a more effective way at getting better. So I'm not too concerned with climbing further in my account, so I just kind of play for fun. So I find a wide hero pool to allow me to have more fun. But for strictly climbing, you want to limit it down a little bit. You want to focus on specific heroes and specific roles, and try to have a small hero roster that you can pull from. Number 4 is focus on staying alive. And this one's one of the hardest ones to kind of just talk about. It's one of the hardest ones to teach someone. You have to just kind of pay attention to what you're doing. So stay alive without baiting your team. And baiting's when you knowingly use your teammate to lure an enemy into making a play that's more likely to go well for you specifically, but likely to end up with your teammate dying or in danger in some other way. Baiting can be an effective strategy if you do it in a kind of coordinated way with your team, but this doesn't happen all that often in solo queue, at least up to diamond tier. So don't do it unless you're coordinating. I mean, for example, you're going to have like a Reaper who kind of like makes it look like he's coming from one way, so somebody goes to chase him and there's a Roadhog in there waiting for him. That kind of thing. You're baiting the Reaper, but the Reaper's part of it. He's in on the, he's in on the gig. The only times dying is acceptable is when a 1-for-1 trade's more beneficial to your team than it is to their team. For example, Dorado on attack, it's okay to sacrifice one of your teammates for one of theirs, depending on where you are in the map and at what point you're at, etc. If you reverse roles and you're on defense, you probably want to take out 2 if you're going to die, but even then, that may not be worth it for you. It's usually just better to get 1 kill and live than it is to get 2 kills and die. Staying alive is one of the most important things you can do. A lot of this comes down to positioning and overall game sense. It's tough for me to give ideas on how to stay alive. Maybe I'm going to try it in a future video, but it really boils down to risk-taking and effectively calculating the risks. If you chase the Mercy, will you get the kill? Will you die? Is it worth it if you die? Oftentimes it's not. But because there's so many variables, you really simply need to play the game, experience these situations, act as you think you should act, and then evaluate that decision later. Pretend you're the Reaper and you chased a Mercy and died. Think to yourself, I decided to chase Mercy because it was already a 5v6 fight in our favor, and my teammate had just started using ultimates. I did not get the Mercy, and I died because I failed to recognize that she had a Pharah in the sky to fly to, making me ineffective. I should have let her retreat and saved Death Blossom for her res. Again, all situations are different. Maybe next time you're presented with a similar scenario and it goes differently, the Mercy doesn't jump to a Pharah and you pick her off quicker so she doesn't have time to react. Or maybe you don't care if she reses because you're wiping them without using ults, and if she does res, then you can kind of use ults to wipe them again if necessary. The important part is to build a habit about your deaths, and basically during the respawn counter, ask yourself the following questions. Why did I die? What did I do wrong? Am I playing the correct hero? / is our team comp working? Simply doing this will improve your decision making as you start to recognize and pay attention to all the mistakes that you specifically are making that cause your death. Remember that pretty much every single death is your fault. You could change a behavior and you would not have died. Do not blame your team. Do not blame anybody. Do not blame the game. You died and it's your fault. Now, what can you learn from it? That's it for me, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, consider subscribing and clicking that like button. It really helps out the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.